Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 4 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers College Basketball Podcast. I'm Sam Fetterman with Jonathan Lidskin. And, folks, we have a preview for you. How many previews is that, Jonathan?
A lot of previews. I lost count. I thought you were going to stop at like 3, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, I thought I was going to stop at 2, and then I just kept going.
Well, here we are. We got preview, like you said, previews coming around the corner of individual teams, conferences, just previewing everything college basketball related.
We think we can tell you who the first team preview is going to be.
We think.
Don't set it in stone. But we think the first team preview is going to be Missouri. It's right just here, probably the easiest to get a person there because Jonathan knows everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely going to have Kansas, Gonzaga, UConn. We're going to get someone awesome for UConn. I haven't decided who yet, but we're definitely going to get someone awesome for that. Creighton, we're going to have a preview. We're going to have previews for so many different teams. We're going to have previews for all the different major conferences. And we're going to have really great guests on for those. We've talked about that in the past. We've got to figure out what we're doing there. And I'm going to start making coach calls next Monday. Really, that's when I'm going to start making calls for the season preview for the MAC. And maybe I'll get a coach or two on the podcast before the season or during the season, maybe. But who knows? We've got a lot to talk about. Jonathan, intro us into our first topic.
So, first topic, over the last couple days, I've been doing this sort of like college football, NFL, college basketball draft. It's a league that my friends are in that we started this year. And basically, the way it's formatted in one of the 3 leagues, you have to have the national champion to like win the league. And so it got me thinking the last couple days, who is in this national championship tier for college basketball this season? Obviously, March Madness tournament, 68 teams, a lot of variance there. Hard to fully say who is and who can and who can't win a national championship in late August, but we're going to give it our best shot based on the rosters and what we know at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea of a national champion basketball team, the fabric that builds up a national championship basketball team is different from simply being the best basketball team or one of the best basketball teams. Like, I see USC's roster right now, and I see a team that's run by some awesome guards, and they could have a huge march. While I see Villanova, and while I see a great team, they're not deep. Their guard play is not very guard-like, and they could underperform in March, while USC could overperform in March.
Yeah.
And USC is also super deep in the front court. Joshua Morgan, Vince Iwuchukwu, Arrington Page is a really deep front court. You do have a guy in DJ Rodman that's in there. Got plenty of talent and experience on that USC team. They'll have Bronny James probably by that point as well. USC, maybe not a national champion, but is a team that, if things go their way, could really make a run in March. They look like one of the deepest front courts and one of the deepest back courts in the country.
Yeah, obviously with USC too, the guard depth is a little dependent on when Bronny is able to go. He's going to be a huge part of that team when he comes back, and he's a very talented player. I want to talk real quick before we kind of get into the full swing of this. Sam, do you want to talk about some of the past, maybe national championship qualifiers that have kind of played, or trends maybe that have played into the national champions?
First of all, any stat that you use with like Ken Pom that tells you they have to be 25th or they have to be this much in offense, this much in defense, throw it out the window. None of that matters. Because by the time the tournament's over, if they win the national championship, they're going to move up 15 spots in whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
just because like somewhere along that run, you have to play some really high quality basketball games to win a national title.
While what I would say, you should at least be confident that a team can string together at least 4 straight good games of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
This is the whole thing. UConn showed it this past year. They won 14 games in a row to start the season, and it was really impressive, all 14 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
You were going into March Madness and saying, I don't think this team can win 4 games in a row. That's crazy. Now, it was possible that they weren't going to because they had a lot of struggles. But there was no doubt in anyone's mind they could go and win 4, 5, 6 basketball games in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think when you look at these metrics that are like Ken Palm related and whatnot, like I think it's more of the general idea that you have to pay attention to than the actual numbers or like cutoffs themselves. Because like we all know the top 25 offensive and defensive efficiency stat that like I think every national champion except for like 2014.
And also, every team that's in the top 25 of both offense and defense is already good without me needing to know that.
Yeah, I think the general idea of that is more what you need to take away. That like a team probably can't win a national championship being weaker on one side of the basketball.
Being significantly weaker.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like 60th. But if you're 45th in offense on March 11th, who's to say if you at least have a really talented guard? I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Shabazz Napier, 2014 UConn.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most fluke runs to ever fluke. But they had one of the most talented guards in the country. They were like 45th in offense going into March Madness. If you're 39th in offense, it doesn't mean you're not going to make a national championship run. Now, you're probably not going to.
So I'm going to now talk about what I think is maybe the most, maybe one of the, maybe not the most important, but one of the more important tiers or qualifiers, I should say, for a national champion in college basketball. You need to have a pro, a singular NBA level player.
Usually multiple.
On your team. Yeah, usually multiple. And we can go back and look at the teams that have won national championships.
Sanogo, Hawkins, Andre Jackson, Caravan, Klingon, they're all NBA players.
Kansas had Abaji.
Brown, Abaji, they're both NBA players.
Baylor had Butler and Mitchell are both NBA players.
Virginia,
Butler maybe on a lesser scale, but still.
Virginia had DeAndre Hunter. Kyle Guy played in the NBA, so did Ty Jerome.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Villanova, obviously, I don't need to name those names.
Yeah. No,
North Carolina, I mean, Justin Jackson played.
Justin Jackson was a legitimate NBA prospect who I think was a lottery pick, or at least close to it.
That was not a super NBA. Oh, did Joel Berry play in the NBA?
I don't know NBA or G League, but he was a very good college point guard.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we can go on and on.
Oh, you know who was on that team that played in the NBA? Theo Pinson.
Yes. Very, very briefly, I think.
No, Pinson played a while in the NBA.
Did he?
Yeah, he played parts of 5 seasons.
All right.
I mean, 127 total games, but he played parts of 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Keep getting them checks, Theo.
There you go. I mean, the idea is that, like, you need to have a level of talent to win those 6 games.
It's a level of talent, athleticism on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of times those guys are not freshmen.
And then how much do you buy into the guards win in March statement that we hear every year?
I buy into it. I think that elite guard play can control a basketball game. Mm-hmm. And it's so much easier to come from behind when you have elite guard play. I've watched it happen year upon year, game after game. It's so much easier because to come from behind, and also it's so much easier to stay ahead because you're handling the ball well. It's so much easier to go on runs. You can't go on big runs just chucking it into a big guy. I'm sorry, Purdue, they didn't go on a ton of massive runs. Did they? Teams that went on runs are teams that can run with guards, handle the ball, force turnovers and suppress their own turnovers, and hit threes. That's how you create runs, and obviously running in transition. That's how
Yeah,
guard
and I
play
mean
works.
it's just common sense. Threes are worth more than twos. So trailing in a game, how do you get back in it? You're going to need to hit the shots that are worth the most points.
And also, a guard that's good at handling the ball is better at putting the game away. We saw Tristan Newton develop that as the game went on, as the season went on, and they called long developing sets in those last couple games, these 25-second sets that would end with a layup. And oh my God, he was masterful in that tournament.
By the way, I'm just going to read this real quick. This is the list of college basketball teams that last year that were at the top in kill shots per game. Oral Roberts, Iona, Youngstown State, FAU, Liberty, Duquesne, UCLA, College of Charleston, Houston, Furman, Tennessee.
Yes.
A lot of good guards on those teams.
Now do kill shots against.
Kill shots allowed per game. Okay. Do you want me? Okay. This is. All right. Here we go. Kill shots allowed per game. Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Virginia Tech, Alabama, Texas A&M, UConn, Cleveland State, San Diego State, Santa Clara, Gonzaga.
Those are physical teams.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those teams are physical.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I think you need to win a championship. You need physicality. You're not going to be soft winning a championship. Sorry, David McCormick. I'm sorry. I've apologized. That team wasn't soft. They played hard in the tournament. They were soft until February. Mm-hmm. The Flo Thamba game. That was a turnaround.
They kind of figured it out late in the year.
Yes, and I never should have doubted a Bill Self team, but you cannot be soft and win a national championship.
But again, like, how convinced are you that Creighton wins that game if they're healthy? Or at least as healthy as we thought they were going to be?
Oh, no, I think Creighton wins that game.
Mm-hmm. Like, Kansas had so many just...
It doesn't mean
drives to the basket in that game.
It doesn't mean that Kansas didn't play hard.
No, you're absolutely right. Every team needs a little bit of fortune, except for
and I think that's kind of what everyone out of people off about Gonzaga. They tend to think Gonzaga's soft, but they're not soft. They're just
I don't think Gonzaga's soft.
Just fast.
I don't think Gonzaga's soft. It's just that they're not used to playing against that speed because they don't see it for 3 months.
They're just like fast but not used to being like matched.
Like there's a level of athleticism and speed that.
And yes, we know the WCC has produced multiple NBA players over the last few years.
But you know what? Yeah. Overall, there is a level of athleticism.
A lot of conferences have produced multiple NBA players over the last few years. The WCC isn't the only one.
I mean, just think about the teams Gonzaga's lost to. UConn, extremely athletic, like fast team. Arkansas a couple years ago, athletic, fast. Like, they don't see those teams for 3 months. And credit to Mark Few lately. He's been going out in non-conference and scheduling really high up. They probably have the toughest schedule year in and year out at this point in non-conference, because they need to see those teams.
I mean, yeah, because teams aren't afraid to play them from like a net rankings perspective, like they are most other mid majors. So,
yeah, I mean,
so high majors will play them, and they'll go to Spokane to play them, like Kentucky's doing.
Yep, that game's in Lexington this year.
Yeah, and it's at the Kennel next year.
So we went over all those different qualifiers and criteria.
Yeah, this is going to be a short show.
Who do you think then are like the national championship tier teams this season? Because I will say this, as I was looking over this, and this is not the first time I've done this, it is really, really hard to definitively say this year who has pros and who doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a ton of pros out there.
Because this is, look, it's not.
I don't think Kansas has, like, I think Kevin McCullough might be a pro, but, like, if that's Kansas' pro, are we really saying they're a national championship team?
I just think it's tougher because, like, it's really hard to evaluate Who?
Like, I think Duke has multiple pros.
Yeah.
I think Tyrese Proctor's a pro. I think Filipowski's a pro. I think Mark Mitchell's a pro. I think Jeremy Roach is a pro.
I think
Well, I think
Villanova
Jared
has.
McCain's a pro.
I think Villanova has a pro.
Barton. Bamba.
I think Bamba's a pro.
Yeah, I think Burton could be a pro too.
Yeah.
But I don't trust the ball handling situation.
Tennessee, I'm really high on. I'm not entirely sure they have a pro.
I feel like Josiah is gonna play 6 NBA games.
Honestly, I'm gonna take a flyer on this one because
Creighton has pros.
He's had just an unbelievable summer. Like Toby Owaka could be a pro. Like if I had to guess, like who is Tennessee's pro on this team, like I would kind of.
I'll tell you who I think is in the national championship tier. Creighton.
Yeah.
Guard play is going to be among the best in the country. Ryan Kalkbrenner is a pro. Trey Alexander is a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Trout could be a pro.
Yeah.
Hell, Jonathan Lawson could be a pro if things go right. Now, I don't think he will be. But there's athleticism. Outside of Baylor Shireman, everyone on that team, and obviously Ashworth, they'll get really physical with you. And Shireman guarded when he needed to.
Yeah,
he was not a turnstile.
He got the steal to I believe tie the game.
He's not super quick-footed, but he can get physical. I like Shireman for that.
I low-key think that Kansas State might have a pro or two.
Kaluma's a pro.
I think Cam Carter might be too.
Naquan Tomlin has the athleticism. I don't know if he has
the
coordination.
Does he develop enough basketball skills?
I don't think he's coordinated at all.
You think?
I think FAU has pros.
You think Riley Kugel's a pro for?
Yes.
Florida?
And I think Walt's a pro.
This is just very interesting because we're not naming freshmen here.
I mean, how many freshmen are pros this year? 12.
It's a good point. I mean,
I know Brazil is a pro.
Obviously, we know Kentucky has multiple pros. But does
Marquette have a pro?
There's exterior reasons why you wouldn't put them in this tier.
Does Marquette have a pro?
If they do, it's probably Iguodaro.
That's what I was gonna say, but I don't think Oso's a pro.
No. If they had Omax, now we're talking.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of.
Does Gonzaga have a pro?
Low key. Michigan State has one pro, and it's Cohen Carr.
You don't think there's any chance that that Walker could be a pro?
No, he's too small.
Yeah, that's fair.
Malik
Hall, if he has a big year,
people will kind of say Xavier Booker.
But no, Xavier Booker's eventually a pro.
But I'm gonna be honest, I don't trust Izzo's development of centers at all.
Is this because of Jaren Jackson?
It's a lot of things. Well, his use it wasn't. Jaren Jackson was only there for a year
because they haven't had a good big man since. Basically, no, they had that one guy. Well, what was his name? Tillman.
Tillman was very good,
and he was a pro.
And
they haven't had anyone since.
But didn't you always feel like there was more to Marcus Bingham's game that could have been revealed?
And Marble kind of broke out at A&M.
Marble had a huge year at Texas A&M.
Yeah. By the way, do you think A&M has a pro?
No.
I'll tell you who has a pro. St. Mary's.
You think Mahaney's a pro?
I think Mahaney's. I thought Mahaney was a pro the first time I saw him.
UNC might have multiple.
Cadeau's a pro.
That's no doubt. What about
Ingram's a pro? Sure.
I don't think. Does Arizona have one?
Is Boswell big enough?
That's what my thought process was. Like the path for small guards to like be good in the NBA, and like I get we're not talking about being good in the NBA, but like the
Well,
path.
also most of the guys we're talking about on here. I mean, Kansas, their two pros were a 2 and a 3.
It's just
Baylor's were a 1 and a 2.
is
Virginia
the
had a 1 and a 2 go pro.
is the ideal way to build a roster in college basketball to have a veteran, experienced, really good college point guard, um, a rim protecting center, and your pros are on your wings.
I think that if you have an Ochai Agbaji, you build. I think an Ochai Agbaji is the ultimate building block in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, like
An
think about it.
experienced pro wing that can handle the ball.
Yeah,
I think that if you have that, you have a good chance of winning a national championship. Who is the Ochai Agbaji of college basketball right now? I have an answer.
do you have an answer for me?
I do. Trey
Um,
Alexander.
okay, I can respect that for sure.
Now, he's not even close to as good as Ochai was.
No,
But in terms of an experienced pro combo / wing with length, athleticism that can handle the ball and shoot it, are you doing much better than Trey Alexander?
DJ Wagner.
I said experienced.
Okay, well, that's a qualifier that DJ Wagner obviously can't fulfill. But like, I feel like he also kind of fits that mold as a player.
Is there anybody?
No, I don't think so. Nothing's coming to mind for me. Caleb Grill.
I mean, I think Trey Alexander might be the closest thing that we have right now to that type of build, if you'll allow me to use that word. And obviously, Trey Alexander, he's a junior, he's not a senior.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, he's played in a bunch of NCAA tournament games, had major roles. He's been a key player for them for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a better one.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best one you got. And
Like,
I mean, look, we know. I mean, Roach.
No.
I mean, but like, is
He's
that
good? But
he's not obviously. But like, you see what I mean here? Like, is that like the second best guy?
like, if you need to put the experience factor in,
John L. Davis.
maybe.
Like he's the 4. He plays the 4 for them.
Like, but they don't play a 4.
Yeah. If only Reese Beekman knew how to shoot.
How old do you have to be considered experienced in this qualification?
At least 1.5 years of being like a major piece.
What about Judah?
1.5.
By the end of by the tournament, he will have played 1.5 years.
I meant 1.5 coming into the season.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might be it.
And also, like, he hasn't played for a good team.
That is true.
Like, you have to play for at least a decent team.
Okay, I'm going to list a couple teams, and you tell me if you honestly think they can win the national championship.
Okay, go.
Purdue.
I don't think they have a... I mean, I think Zach Edey's going to play in the NBA. But I don't think they have the athleticism in the backcourt. And even though they're going to be a lot more poised, I still don't think they can run with like the Miami offense types, you know?
That leads me into my next team.
And I think they'll think these are going to be teams that'll go on runs against Purdue, and I think Purdue will struggle to stop that still.
Miami.
No.
Not deep enough?
Not deep enough. Not even close.
Michigan State.
Michigan State. I trust Tom Izzo, but I don't think
That's another thing we didn't even get into.
coaching. Yeah, I mean,
part of this as well.
I trust Tom Izzo, but he's shown cracks in the scales over the last few years. That game against Kansas State was a coaching disaster class. But if Michigan's and I also don't think I don't think they're the best team in the Big Ten.
How do you? I said this. Well, I had my first Marathon to March show yesterday, and I said this: Michigan State is closer to the field than they are to Purdue.
Sure, I don't think that's crazy.
And I say that, and if you asked me, would you take Purdue or the field in the Big Ten? It would be the field. My answer would be the field.
I don't think Purdue's gonna. I think Purdue doesn't have a 50% chance to win the Big Ten, but I would take them.
I mean, yeah, they're going to be my pick to win the conference.
Of course they are. They're the best team in the conference. Give me another team.
Florida.
I know what their fans think.
I mean, you like them again.
Yeah, they're going to be solid.
Yeah.
Give me another team.
Arizona. Oh, I have a good one next.
That's a really good thought there with Arizona. Again, I think the thing that made Arizona special last year was they had the too big situation that teams had no idea how to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But they get an upgrade in play at point guard. They get more physical with Kashad Johnson. And if Caleb Love buys in, he could be a pro. So, yeah, I wouldn't it's a team that I could see winning in a universe.
Have they dodged the soft allegations yet?
What?
Have they dodged soft allegations? I should probably rephrase that question. Now that I'm thinking about it,
they have Kashad Johnson now.
They do, and Caleb Love is a physical guard,
and Ballo's not soft
when he wants to be.
And Ballo's not soft.
No, it was a couple guys that are gone probably.
Krisa.
Tubelis kind of too.
Krisa thinks he's soft. Krisa thinks he's hard, but he's soft.
UCLA.
Well, what's your line? Say your line.
No, I'm not. I refuse.
By the end of the season, I'm going to get you to say that line.
Just not.
But probably not.
I gotta think they can.
I could see them winning the Pac-12. I mean, I don't think I could name 5 guys on their team, but I can see them winning the Pac-12.
I'm not finished updating my rankings yet because, obviously we still have a while till we get to, the top 25. I'm going to read you my rankings on a different document and not put you on it and just not tell you where I'm putting UCLA. And you'll find out when
UCLA at 3. You're going to end up putting UCLA at, 3.
We're gonna be a day before the season. You're gonna go on your Twitter. You're gonna open up and number 1 UCLA. UCLA is at a different tier this year for college basketball. They may run the table. Absolutely nobody has a chance of catching them.
Nobody can beat Burke. Whatever.
Dude, do you remember those people that thought UNC was gonna go undefeated last year?
Oh my God, there were actual real people that said that. Someone bet me money on that. I need to get money.
Go find that tweet.
I need to. No. It wasn't a tweet. It was a snap message.
I remember you had a Twitter conversation with someone that they wanted to bet you that UNC would lose less than
My
5 games.
tweet was UNC isn't who you think they are.
Yes. And they were not who most people thought they were.
And I was right. All right. Anything else we need to get off our chest before previous season?
Oh, I need to get caught up. Do you want to discuss any of the teams that have been in your countdown so far?
What teams do we have a big difference on?
I mean, I'd have to compare, but I'm also two behind you right now. Today was day number 76.
Who's 77 and who's 76?
I posted 78 an hour ago. 77 for me, I'll reveal it right now. 77 is Georgetown, 76 is Cal.
Okay. I don't think either of those are crazy.
So we're starting to get to more of the high majors over the next week or so.
Still had I've had 3 mid majors in a row.
I mean, I still have plenty. I wouldn't say plenty of mid majors, but
I have I have 2 high majors coming up, and honestly, I feel like the one that I have tomorrow is a legit sleeper, but I just don't like their coach, and I'm not really sure what I think about their big man situation. I think their backcourt, their backcourt is really impressive. Their 1, 2, 3 is really impressive.
Michael Emerson White.
I already did them. They were not in my top 100.
Oh yes, Blake Snell's getting hits. Here comes Spencer Strider. Okay, fine.
Spencer Strider and his 3.97 ERA.
Shut up. Oh, Logan Hoppy's back today. Since when?
All right, I'm out of here. We gotta end the stream.
Adios.
Good episode of the podcast tonight. We'll be back next time.